New Brighton, Pier, Foreshore and Promotion Society, Eleanor Bodger and Dr. John Cook. Oh, that was for councillors, it's the supplementary submission document. Yes, because we had a couple pull out and a couple put in their place. Thanks very much.
Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Mayor Dalziel and councillors, thank you so much for the opportunity to speak to our submission, which is a request to include the legacy project in the long-term plan. We were heartened on Monday, and it would seem we need to be equally heartened today, by the response of Council to Paul Zarnan's submission on behalf of the New Brighton Business and Landowners Association. And we're feeling very enthusiastic about being one of the first projects for development Christchurch. We are aware that the Legacy project is just one of the vital pieces of fabric that are required for regeneration of the area, and Paul has already addressed this. We are confident that the Legacy project will improve the quality of life for our residents. New Brighton is already building its community cohesion. We can see now that there are at least 8 stable cafes in the area. There is increasing strength in some of the established businesses. There is growing popularity of the New Brighton market, with a growth in numbers and the types of stalls and increasing visitor numbers. Successful events are increasingly common, such as the Kite Day, Coast to Coast, Sandcastle event and Easter egg hunt, to name a few. We will continue to build on these successes. However, as Council is aware, we still need significant assistance and investment in the area. Dr. John Cook will give some insight into the post-earthquake demographic of this area.
Thank you. I'd just like to bring a community health perspective to this. The immediate area supports around about 16,000 people, represents 3.5% of the population of Christchurch. I've worked in the area as a general practitioner for just under 40 years and operate from a large medical practice that serves 12,000 registered people. So we service or served 75% of the population in the area. This actually translates into 78,000 face-to-face contacts with staff, clinical staff, that's nursing staff as well as doctors, per annum. We have a fairly good feeling for the area, I believe. It gives a unique perspective into the social and economic elements that make up our community. An internationally accepted standard of socio-economic deprivation is a term used, geocoding, and the measure in geocoding are quintiles, the 20% divisions within that. Quintile 1 being the most advantageous, quintile 5 being the least advantageous. In our area, we are 75% of our population lies within the lower quintiles. However, we do have a very high level of home ownership, which indicates a fairly substantial supportive community. Disposable incomes after essentials are very tight, and we see a lot of this. We are overrepresented in hospitals and outpatients. We're also overrepresented in non-attendance, reflecting the difficulty in travel for a lot of our clientele. With the limited disposable incomes, this means the ability for individual families to fund leisure activities, travel, and provide good quality food, I've put down here, but good quality food is easily compromised, and we have a social worker attached or employed by our medical centre, and she is very active in the area of supporting people at a very basic level. It's very apparent too that the leisure and health of the community activities need to be located close to our community. Just a comment, it was mentioned, I think, after Paul Zarnan's presentation that we were a doctor down in the area. In actual fact, that doctor retired and we took over the practice and the staff of that practice, and we have experienced a growth including or excluding any additional practices we've taken on, of 1,000 people over the last 3 years.
That was my mistake, and I do
Okay.
apologise
I
for
just
it.
wanted to
I
address
had
that.
been told that a doctor had left, and that's what I repeated, so I do apologise for that. I was hoping it wasn't you.
We are a pharmacy down.
Yeah, but the point that I was making, it was in response to, well, it was my comment that one of the issues, and I know it was you that first raised it with me, was the loss of residents in the area, that we need to build more houses in the area to bring back more residents as well. It's not just about facilities, it's about numbers to support services as well.
We've noted positively that the influx we are experiencing is young families, in spite of school closures, and an influx of self-employed younger folks working in areas such as design, architecture and IT. And we expect this activity to feed into the regrowth of our business district as they move from operating in their own homes, and we've seen this, to requiring office space and associated facilities, which we hope the legacy pool will form. Madam Mayor and councillors, we believe that an aquatic centre will make a much needed facility accessible to our community and have a very positive effect on our community's well-being.
Our submission shows the amount of community support that this project has, and you'll see that footnote on page 1. Nothing since the days of the Pier has so unified this community. The Legacy project, along with the staged development of the business area, is our golden opportunity. The New Brighton Pier, Foreshore and Promotional Society are aware that our council faces complex financial and legal issues. Some of the statutory obligations charge council with the responsibility to provide services to current residents of an area, and we've made reference to this on the final page of our submission. The inclusion of the Legacy project into the long-term plan will assist council to satisfy these requirements. Some of our members operate businesses in the business area or on the periphery of that area, and we believe that building the Legacy pools will give a positive signal to people like us and to new investors. By placing the Legacy project in the plan, it will also enable it to be integrated with the New Brighton Master Plan, and it will enhance that plan. It will assist Development Christchurch to progress its wider brief in a structured, managed and focused way. We have been assured that $5 million is sitting aside for the Legacy project, and that $3.2 million can be added into the fund by the smart inclusion of the adjoining whale pool and children's recreational area. Additional funding is of course required, and whether this comes through the long-term plan or private philanthropic interests is for Council and Development Christchurch to determine. We are here to assist in that process, and for the reasons mentioned, believe that including the Legacy project in the long-term plan will play a major part in making our Council's New Brighton Master Plan a success, and along with it, the successful rebuild of Brighton. Thank you so much for listening to our submission. We're happy to take questions if we've got time.
That's great. Yeah, no, there's time. Can I just ask a question, because I don't actually know the answer to this, but the cost of repairing the pier, I mean, that ended up on the front page of the paper the other day, and I think the headline was kind of like double the cost of building it in the first place. Has the Pier and Foreshore Society, which was such a pivotal part of actually getting the pier built in the first place, have they looked at that whole repair strategy and have they got any views on it?
It's quite hard for me to talk to this. John and I are new members of Pier and Foreshore, and the meeting...
Oh, that's unfair then. I won't ask you the question, but I will direct the question somewhere else and we'll get an answer. I don't want to take up your time.
I was just going to say, as treasurer of Pier and Foreshore, no, we haven't.
Right, yeah, because I think that's got to be part of the solution as well. I think you can't isolate New Brighton into the different component projects. It now has to be an integrated, joined up...
We agree.
Yeah, approach. Yeah, Yanni.
Thank you. I'm really interested in the Legacy project and just understanding the kind of dynamic behind how it will revitalise New Brighton. From the expression of interest that we went out, we were suggesting that it would cost $8 to $10 per person for a swim, and that would be the spend, or $35 to $40 for the private pools, and $85 to $120 for the wellness beauty area. So given what you know about that community and about the existing people that either live in New Brighton or go to New Brighton, would you think that, for a family of 4, that this sort of facility would attract, and we've estimated 300,000 people a year at those sorts of prices?
I think to respond to that, we'd need to be privy to the structure of the project, and that's something which we have not progressed.
I actually think that the actual documentation referred to other facilities around the country.
Okay. So I'm just trying to understand where we're at, because when we went out for the EOI...
but they're not the right people to ask, Yanni. I mean, I don't know what point you're trying to make, but it's not
for you
these
guys.
good
Okay,
people
cool.
who've come here to make a passionate plea on behalf of New Brighton.
So we heard this morning from a group that promotes a promenade along the piers, sand dunes, which was quite a compelling case. When I compare that in my mind to the kind of legacy project, which doesn't really have any bones to it or flesh to
Yes,
it.
but that's because it was top down, Yanni. That was our idea.
Yeah,
you know,
so I'm just...
we went to the community and said we'd like to talk about the concept of a legacy project, and the community advisory group got together. They came up with an agreed position that it would be the hot salt water pools. And we've now gone through a process. There are more processes to go through, and the idea of having Development Christchurch focus on it. I just think that we're not using these people's time productively.
We're being asked to consider progressing the construction on the foreshore of the hot saltwater pools covered in all weather, have that project included in a long-term plan, put significant budget to the project, and all I'm trying to understand is, from what we heard this morning, if we have to prioritise and if we have limited funding available for a kind of immediate short-term project...
Sorry, Yanni, we've already got that on, that has already been decided, that we'll set aside $5 million for it. So it's already been decided. I agree that what we were presented with this morning has been worked up at a far more detailed level by the community before it came to us. There is still a way to go with the priority, and I guess that the message I want to give back is that the money is there, and you're asking that we potentially set aside more, and I think that that's got to be done in the context of looking at the whole of New Brighton, not just at the individual projects. So, but Glenn, did you have a...
Yeah, it was just to ask Dr. Cook his view on obviously what's happened to the wider Brighton area has had a profound impact on the social wellbeing of the community. Could you give us your view on the signal as well as the actual placement of this legacy project in the community? What would that do in your professional view, in the kind of collective mindset of the community?
Well, we encourage physical activity, and we encourage connectivity as a health promoting tool. And I believe that putting a leisure facility close to an area of need would benefit. And that's really my brief answer to you.
Yeah, so, okay. Look, thank you very much. And I'm not sure, Eleanor, you've got a submission of your own, but do you want to just include that? I mean, I can give you another couple of minutes or something to...
I felt that the focus for us today needed to be the legacy project, so I'm quite happy to put that to one side. But I'm also quite happy to come back to Yanni's concerns.
Okay.
Really, for us, John and I became involved because we are enthused by the potential here. So we're enthused by new thinking that's happened not only in Christchurch but in some of the directions that have come from government, so about working across different agencies in a way that we've never worked before. We are really enthused by flexible and agile thinking. So the type of thing that balances maybe the need to make sure that a facility such as the Legacy Pool is financially viable, along with the huge social need that we see in our community. And we think there are great ways to meet both of those needs. Yeah. And we've had lots of discussions about that, but as Mayor Dalzell alludes to, we haven't had the opportunity yet to have those discussions with Development Christchurch to bring you something that's got more structure and that's, you know, meets those sorts of requirements. But we're excited by the potential because, yes, just new thinking. New thinking gives us lots of opportunities.
Well, the thing with Paul Zanen when he came the other day is that I did reflect on the fact that never before has the property owners and, I mean, the business owners and the landowners come together. And he has managed to bring the two together. And because people keep asking, well, why hasn't this been fixed before? And, I mean, in my view, that the Pier's been successful in bringing people to New Brighton, but it doesn't bring people into New Brighton because people don't cross the road and come into the New Brighton area, and there's a lot of reasons for that. The slow road was supposed to be the answer to everything, but when I opened the slow road, I said anyone who thinks that our journey stops here are dreaming. We've actually started at the wrong end. We should have started down the other end by the pier and worked back. But the slow road was never going to solve the real problem, which was there was no connection between the businesses and the landowners, and there was a whole lot of absent, there was no connection between the car park owners and the different sites as well. So you couldn't get an integrated development happening, and now we've got this one opportunity, in my view, to actually finally get that done. David?
Just a comment, I think I've been involved with probably 3 or 4 master plans over my time in the area.
That's why I'm cynical about master plans.
Virtually without exception, all of them talked about starting at the beach and moving towards the business area. And none of them have.
And none of them have actually done that.
And I think what we are talking about here today with legacy projects and promenades actually starts to achieve what master plans have set out in over a number of years now, where we actually started at the greatest asset, the Foreshore, and worked back into the business district. And I think the track that we are now pursuing with a number of projects is exactly what successive master plans have told us to do.
Yep, totally agreed. Thank you very much. Thank you.